Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 6 of The Mix,
where we have real talk
with real leaders
about real topics.
Today we have someone who is ex-SWAT but is now a detective over at the DA's office. Please help us welcome Dylan Whitt. So, Dylan, it's a pleasure having you on the podcast, man.
Pleasure being here, man.
Do we want to start off with just telling us a little bit about your family?
I can. So my name's Dylan Whitt. I am from Curry. I went to school at Curry. I am married. I've been married 11 years. I have 3 kids. I got a 10-year-old, a 5, she just turned 5, and then I got a baby. She's 18 months old. My parents still live here. You know, I'm from here. So.
What inspired you to become a detective?
So I don't really know how I became a cop, honestly. I was pretty against it when I was a kid. When I was a teenager, I was a little rebellious. I always wanted to be a teacher and a coach, a basketball coach, because I played basketball. And I didn't really ever say, hey, I want to be a cop. But one day I was working for the city. I got married young. I got married at 20, and I worked for the city of Jasper. So my brother-in-law at the time, he was a cop with Jasper. He was like, hey, man, you'd be a good cop. Why don't you be a cop? I was like, man, I don't want to be a cop, dude. I don't. I was like, well, how much does it pay? And it was like a couple more dollars than what I was making then. And I was like, well, I got a family. that'd probably be pretty good for money-wise, so, which was not accurate looking back on it. But so I transferred over when I became 21 because Jasper, where I worked at, they had you can't, see, the state has a different code. Like, you could be 19 and be a police officer in the state of Alabama. But with Jasper Police, they only hired you if you was 21. So I had to turn 21 before I became a cop. So became a cop when I turned 21, went to academy. I actually had my daughter the week I started at the police department. I had my first kid. So I was driving back from Birmingham, going to work, and dealing with that. But when I got to the PD, they were a bunch of people moving in and out. It was kind of like just a bunch of change. You know, you have teachers that move every year. Mm-hmm. You have a new one in and you have the old ones out. So that was what it was at the PD. It was more like a lot of people were moving, people were retired and stuff like that. So I came in and I only patrolled for like 9-10 months, and they were like, hey, you want to be a detective? I was like, sure. What is that? How do I do that? And then it took off from there, and it exploded. Like, it was just, I've had a lot of amazing opportunities. I'm very fortunate to be where I'm at. And I took it serious. I took it like, I put a lot of time into it. I try to do a pretty decent job with it. I mean, everybody fails in some aspects, but I try to do the best I can with it. And it just, one day they asked me, do you want to be a detective? I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And that's how it happened. I don't know. I didn't really have I didn't really say, you know, hey, I want to be a detective. I want to solve crimes. It wasn't really like that for me. It was more like, hey, you think you could do this? And I'm like, yeah, I could probably do that. And ended up being pretty decent at it. So I can get into how I became like what I am now, which is the digital forensic stuff, if you want me to.
So I would like to get into that, but first, do we want to talk a little bit about your SWAT days?
So when I was with the PD, that we had a SWAT team, and I went to SWAT school with them. We sent a big group of us to SWAT school. I was on the team for a while. It was fun. It's just, you know, SWAT's pretty, you got to be ready for anything. Like, you got to pay attention to stuff. You got to, you know, I remember calling my wife on some before we go to these places, and I'm like, hey, I just want to tell you I love you, because it's dangerous. Some of it's dangerous. So I tell her, hey, look, I love you. If anything happens to me, tell my kids I love them. Because you got to accept, if you're going to do any job, you never know what'll happen in anything. Even here, you never know what's going to happen. So I try to I've always tried to do that with my wife and be like, hey, you know, we're doing this operation. I just want you to know, like, I love y'all. If anything happens to me, yeah, I just want to make sure y'all are good, you know. And that's like the SWAT stuff. That was it was pretty, you know, it can be dangerous at times. But when you help somebody in a hard situation, or, you know, somebody's been, whatever the case may be, that's so rewarding. Like when you actually, because when people are at their lowest point, that's where the police has to step in and help them. That's the job of a cop. You know, we serve the community. So a lot of the times it gets, you know, you can get out of that mindset. That's where I try to live at every day. And a lot of that is with my faith with God. You know, that's where I try to live at in it anyways. And that's helped me tremendously in my career as a police officer.
Yeah.
But the SWAT stuff is cool. It's hard, man. You got to train your butt off now. You got to be in shape. You got to run, all that stuff. And, you know, I've torn both of my Achilles, so it gets hard a little bit carrying all that gear.
And we still see this guy in the gym.
I try to stay working out a little bit. But, yeah, I did it for, let's see, I think I went to SWAT school in 2021. And then I left the PD in 2023, so about 2 years. And then I got where I was one of the, like, team, like I'm point man, which point man means if you're in a stack, so you might have 5 people in a stack, which is if we're lined up, you know, we're a 3 stack. But most time I would either be the number 1 or number 2 man, and you got to be, I mean, you got to pay attention. It's fast, it's quick.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of that is, you know, you want to work at it, you got to be proficient at it. We practice at it, we train at it. You know, you got to take it serious. Yeah. And anything you do, even like with school, you know, if you want to make a good grade on a test, you're just going to sit there and do nothing. You're probably going to study a little bit. Maybe. Now, sometimes you pick up stuff, you know, in the class and you're just like, oh, that makes sense to me. But if you really want to get down into it, you have to study it. Right. Same thing with SWAT, same thing with anything in your job. You know, if you want to be proficient at something, you got to study it. And that's what I try to, like, I've always tried to go outside of it and say, hey, what can it make me better? You know, well, I can do some research on my own and then apply it. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't.
Yeah.
You got to apply stuff to know if it's going to work or not. I mean, that's the way it is with a lot of stuff.
100%. So if we do want to get into the forensic stuff.
So I'll tell you how it started. So in 2015, I started as a police officer with Jasper. And I love video games. Played video games my whole life. So I got into building computers. I was real fascinated about computer gaming, and I was like, man, I want to know everything about it. I did a lot of research on it. I built my own computer. I got pretty good at it, knowing like how the hardware works, how the software works, what a computer does, and all that on my own time. This was not while I was at the police department. So somehow, one day, I was talking to another investigator that did digital forensics. I was like, man, this is so cool. I love computers. This fascinates me. But you can apply it as an investigator. You know, I was doing investigations, but not that type of investigations. I was doing, like, you know, your thefts and all your other stuff, you know. But I was like, man, I never thought about doing it with computers, like social media and, you know, Google stuff and emails and then tracking down that stuff. I was like, man, that's awesome. I want to do that. So I emailed a guy. The guy that I was talking to gave me a card, and he was like, hey, email this guy. It's with the Secret Service. They do most of the training for law enforcement, like local and state law enforcement. I was like, okay, I'll email him. Well, it turns out that was the wrong guy to email because he was like almost the head in charge. And he was like, well, actually, I don't do that anymore, but I'll get you set up in it. So the next week, he had me a class, and I was in a class with taught by the Secret Service for digital evidence. And that's how it all started, man. I just emailed the wrong guy. And, well, I mean, I guess it was the right guy now looking at it, but he got me started with it. I was very fortunate to have a boss that let me, like, do the training because, you know, so a lot of the times when I go to training, like even SWAT school and stuff, you're gone for weeks. Yeah. It's not like hey, Monday get here and hey, Tuesday you're home. No, we're staying there and I'm there. I'm away from my family. You know, I've got to be there. I've been in classes for 2.5 weeks, you know, just gone the whole time. So it's pretty, like, it's time consuming. You gotta dedicate those resources. Like if they're used to me being at work and I'm gone for 3 weeks in training, you know, somebody's gonna have to pick up the slack. So I was very fortunate to have people that I work with that were great with me. All my, you know, supervisors and stuff, they were all for it. They were like, hey, we need this at the PD. I think this is very good. This is where police is moving. And they were right. It's gone to, what is it now? I mean, just in the past 10 years, think how much social media has exploded and how much everything is on your phone.
Right.
Like used to, a cell phone, when I was in school, I had a Razor flip phone. I mean, we sitting there texting like, I got to mash, 5 times to get a letter on there. It's so much different now. I couldn't search YouTube for, videos I want to watch or whatever. It wasn't like that. It's totally different now. So, even in that, you got to progress in everything, like your school systems. Tablets weren't a thing back in the day. We ain't had no laptops like that. We had a computer class, but we have a big computer sitting at a desk, and we probably playing solitaire on it. It wasn't like it is now. I mean, how many computers does y'all school have? Probably a ton.
Roughly 30 for every classroom. So
and, I mean, how many students probably have one assigned to them or whatever it may be? I mean, all schools are like that now. That was not a thing when I was in school. And just to show how much that's progressed, the same thing with policing. So we got into the digital side of it. I've been to pretty much, I don't like using the word expert, but you could say I was an expert in cell phones, computers, just networking, kind of all that stuff. I really took a liking to it and actually spent a lot of time on my own learning, what does an IT person do? How can I apply that at my job? And I got pretty good at it. Like, if something messes up during the day, it piqued my interest to fix it. Like if somebody's printer's not working or somebody's network won't come online or the router's messed up, I took it like I was like, oh, I can fix that. Sometimes I did fix it. Most of the time it did, but sometimes I failed in it. And I want to know why, like what could be the other issue. So I took that on my own to put my own time into it, to research it and do that stuff. And, kind of, that's where it kind of went with the digital forensics investigations. It was like, everything today now is everything on a phone. So it's very needed in investigations to somebody to have the capability to go in and get deleted evidence off a phone or deleted evidence off of email or, something off Facebook or Snapchat. I mean, it's very common nowadays in those investigations. And I trained a lot to do it, and, I do a lot of cases with it. A lot of bad cases, a lot of, just crazy cases.
Yeah.
How often do you handle emotion? Like, how often do you how do you handle cases that are emotionally difficult?
It's very hard. It is. I pray a lot. I'm very spiritual. I love Jesus. He pretty much changed everything for me. He changed my job. He changed my marriage. He changed how I am as a man. I mean, it's just completely different. If I didn't do that, I think I'd probably go crazy. But it's very hard when like I said, most of these, if you have a situation, that's the lowest of the low and like if somebody just lost their loved one, I mean that's very emotional. Right. And we're supposed to be there to help them and all that, and that is what keeps it going for me. Like, if I could help somebody, if I could sacrifice something from Dylan to help somebody else, I'm gonna do it in a heartbeat. And that comes from Jesus. It's not just for me. It's from that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help each other out. We're supposed to be there for somebody. It just so happens that I get to do that in my job. And the emotion part of it, and like I spoke to our youth group last night, it's very hard. I had a rough day yesterday, man. I had a lot of emotions. And I called somebody from my church and said, hey, man, I just need to talk to you. You ain't got to say much to me. I said, I don't really know what you can say to me, but I just need to hear somebody's voice because I can't do this alone right now. I can't tell you anything about the case. I can't tell you anything about what I'm doing. All I can tell you is I need you to pray for me, or I need you to tell me what's the guidance on, this emotion that I'm feeling. And that is where I feel like as men and as, even y'all's age, that we've always kind of struggled with. We're kind of keeping it close to ourselves, and we don't really want to expose how we feel or whatever. That's not right, man. We shouldn't do that. That's not a good thing to keep it all bottled up to ourselves, and then it gets to us one day and we snap. That's not right, man. We've got to talk about these feelings, with other, and kind of make it a normal thing, Like when I came to the DA's office, you know, they know where I stand with the Lord. Like, I made it apparent. Like, hey, I love the Lord. You know, that's where my faith's at. And that's like with the emotions, the same thing. I'm not scared to talk about my emotions with another man. You know, it doesn't make me seem, it's not making me seem weak or nothing like that. It's just,
Right.
hey, you know, I've got to do this because it helps me release some of that emotion where it's not all on me all the time. You know, that's where we fail as a society. I feel like sometimes is, you know, we want to talk about somebody else, or we don't want to make it okay for you to tell me how you're feeling. Man, everybody feels emotions all the time. I mean, how hard is it to come to school every day and deal with all these people every day?
It's pretty difficult.
It gets overwhelming, don't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing. You grow up like that, and then if you're used to bottling those emotions up, what are you going to do in your job when you're older?
Right.
You're probably going to fall back to what you did in high school. You're going to bottle it up, and then you're going to let it eat at you the whole day. We got to be better at that stuff, and that's one thing I try to do. Like, and I was against it. Trust me. I'll tell you what happened was Cole Heights came up to me one day. He's our worship leader at our church, and he said something to me. He said, "Man, he said, what are you?" I was upset or something. I can't remember what it was. I told him, I said, "Man, I'm dealing with some stuff, and I can't say nothing about it with no one." He was like, "Why is that?" And I was like, "Well, first off, my job, and then second off, I just don't want to." And he was like, "Dylan, that's pride." I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "That's all pride, man. You gotta have somebody to talk to. Now, you don't have to talk about certain aspects, like some stuff I can't talk about, obviously, but you can talk about how you're feeling."
Right.
And I was like, "Man, I don't want to do that." He's like, "You're just that's prideful of you." And it changed, like, it really did change. Like, I was like, huh. So I started doing it with Cole. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start telling him how I feel. And, dude, it's helped me a ton in my job. Because I have a hard job sometimes. And it has helped me a lot to actually open up about stuff, you know, how I'm feeling at the time. Now, I'm still not the best at it. Don't get me wrong. I still, you know, but it's just something I think that we could be better at, you know. And it helps. That's what helps me in my job to answer that question is, you know, I actually talk about it with people. I don't just, you know, hide it from everybody. Because people can, like, if you come to school and you don't say nothing, what are they going to ask you? What's wrong with you?
Exactly.
What's wrong with you today, huh? What's going on? And they're like, nothing. And then all day, that makes you even more mad because people keep asking you what's wrong with you. Oh, man, I'm fine. No, sometimes you just need to tell them, hey, this is what's going on. And that's what it is. And you got to have, you don't have to tell everybody, but you need one or two people that you can trust. And that's who you tell.
Yeah.
You know, that's what Pastor Adam says to us, and I believe that wholeheartedly.
This is a bit of a cliched question, but is the detective stuff, the digital forensics, anything like it is in the shows and the movies?
I don't know because I don't watch the shows or the movies. I've always been against like watching police shows because I am a cop. So I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you this, you know, probably some of those shows, they're getting evidence back the next day or 30 minutes. Or that doesn't happen. That's not going to happen. It could take us 6 months, or it could take us a month, or it could take us a year. I mean, that's not how it works in real life. Like, you have to, when you work a case from front to back, I mean, it could take a year, it could take 4 years. It just depends on, you know, what happens with the law. There's a bunch of variables that, you know, stack into that. And as far as like the only thing, some stuff they do, I would say it probably lines up a little bit. Like, you know, you got to serve these subpoenas out or whatever. Excuse you. Thank you. But it doesn't happen like that. On most of everything, you're waiting some time to get the data back, and then you got to analyze the data, and then you go through it, and then you go from there, and then you always build on that step right there. So there might be something that I missed, you know, that I might have to go back and do, and then now we're waiting another month.
All right.
So it's not quick. It is not a quick thing. I know right now I've got a backlog of evidence, like digital stuff that, you know, I've got a bunch of stuff I've got for like trials and stuff coming up, and you know, I've got a backlog myself that might take me 4 or 5 months to get to. So it's not a quick thing like the shows make it seem. I bet some stuff though kind of lines up with it, but I don't really watch. My wife likes watching them, and every time she starts turning it on, I'm like, turn that off. I don't want to watch this stuff.
Seeing up with this at work.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that at home too. I was just, you kind of want to turn it off a little bit when you get home.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Just relax.
I watch a lot of YouTube, not TV.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I like watching YouTube a lot.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah,
It's a lot of analysis on shows.
Yeah, I just my YouTube algorithm is like golf, Christian worship stuff, streamer stuff, and then like maybe some video games sprinkled in there. But that's pretty much it.
This guy will throw down in Siege. But let's get into a little bit of some of the like hands-on application, and then we'll get into some of the more fun and light questions. So like I know that they like publish cases after they've been solved for I don't know how long. Do you have any that were like either like a really big thing for you, or they were like, or it was I wouldn't say cool, because a lot of times you're apprehending somebody, but
so I don't really apprehend anybody. Like I'm not going out and arresting a bunch of people. That's not what I do in my job. My job's more like, hey, here's what I found in the investigation, and give it over to the agency or investigator that's working the case. So I've had some recent stuff that we went to court on. There was one I was a part of a couple weeks ago. Used some new software. So that one thing I was telling like, you always want to try to be the best at your job. Like you want to do the best you can. I'll always say I'll never be the best at what I do, but I'm gonna try. Right. Like somebody's always gonna be smarter than Dylan. Someone's always probably gonna work harder than me, but I'm gonna try to be the best I can. So I got some software that we had never used before. I reached out to this company, and it was a murder trial, and we used it as like our PowerPoint, and we presented our evidence through it. And man, they loved it, dude. It was like the judge loved it. The defense was like, "Hey, y'all did a great job." It's not really like a.
That's just our bell. You're good.
Okay. You don't know. It might be a fire alarm or something. But so I used this new software, and it kind of, it was good. The case, we got a conviction, but it was something that like, you always want, like I said, you want to try to be the best you can at your job. Well, that company actually reached out and was like, "Hey, how did you like the software?" And I was like, "Oh man, it was great." They did a feature on our office about it, like just from, hey, trying this right here and say, hey, let's do this on this case. Yeah. There's no set way. I mean, there's some set ways to do some stuff, but you can always be better at that. And that's one thing that like I try to do with like either old cases now. Like if I go to an old case that I've done and it's gone, I'll look at it and say, well, what could I have done to make it better? Right. Or what did I not do that I could have done? Because there's always something that happens. Like you always could look at your work and say, hey, I probably could have done that better. Or I probably could have wrote that better. Or I probably could have done something better. That's important with like self-review and peer review. Like you need to do that, especially on cases that you can go back and look at. And, study case law. So there's all kinds of case law out there in our job that, we gotta be on top of, man. We gotta, especially with digital evidence. Like I try to, if something pertains to the digital side, my boss will say, hey, make sure you read this and study this tonight, and then tell me about it in the morning, because he cares about it. He actually cares about, hey, we want you to be the best you can be at your job. And I'm 31 years old, and he told me to go study. And I respect that, though. I mean, that's how he cares about it, and he wants you to be the best you can be about it.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, like going back and studying cases that we've done or case law that was happened. That's something you can always do, especially like in school. You go back on a test, you're like, well, next time I ain't gonna miss that answer. Or next time I ain't gonna miss that shot or whatever. It just depends on what you apply it to.
Yeah. So this is just from any of your policing days. Doesn't have to just be the digital forensic stuff, but like, what's the coolest gadget or like tool that you've used?
Coolest. I don't know. I mean, I've been tased before. But
that probably wasn't very fun.
It wasn't fun, man. It wasn't fun. I've been sprayed. That was not
Taser,
fun.
taser.
Yeah, it was not fun. It hurts very bad. But to me, it hurts. I mean, but the coolest thing I'd probably say is I've pulled some stuff, some evidence that was like it'd been deleted. It said deleted for about 3 or 4 years. I mean, that's pretty cool to me. I mean, you think it's gone. It all depends on the phone and everything like that. But you know, if you can, and how much you use it. But if you can get that, that's pretty. That's what I like.
Yeah.
Like that's cool to me. Like I'm thinking, you know, hey, I just pulled this from 4 years ago. That's awesome, man. That's what's cool to me.
Yeah.
Somebody else might, you know, say a flashbang or something. You know, we threw a flashbang at SWAT school, and everybody thought it was cool. But you know, in training or whatever. But I would say like some of the digital stuff that I use. To get the evidence off phones and stuff, that's what's cool to me. Because those are, I mean, that's way above my pay grade on how to, you know, design that stuff. I mean, that's crazy.
I can't remember if it was you that was telling us this, but I think it might have been Cole, but he was like, whenever he was introducing you for one of the messages, Cole Bonner that was on the 3rd episode, but he was like, yeah, it looks like a UFO, and it's like you stick it on the back of a phone or something.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Cole says a lot of stuff.
He sure does.
Yeah, I probably got some. Like I was showing some people the other day, some other lawyers, some of the capabilities I have to do, like with either cars or like I got these big kits, man, that just look cool.
Yeah,
and you know I'm showing them this stuff, and it is very very neat what it can do. But that stuff's what's cool. And they were like, man, this is awesome, man. I didn't know you had this here. I'm like, you know, and a lot of that comes from the Secret Service stuff that I do. You know, they give you the equipment. But I got some pretty cool stuff, man. To me, that's what's cool. Like, I've got a device that is made for hard drives, and, man, it's slick now. You hook a hard drive up on it, man, even if it's not working. Like, say you have a problem with it being read on a computer or whatever.
Right.
Sometimes that device will show me what's on it just like that. I mean, it's neat.
What would you say is a common misconception? What's the common misconception about people with your job?
I don't know. I feel like society's more shifted to like, you know, there's good and bad in any jobs, you know. But, you know, I feel like cops get a lot of scrutiny. And, you know, some of it's deserved because some stuff has happened that has, you know, brought that on. But, you know, I know a lot of good men and a lot of good women that work for police departments and that are great people that would they would give their life up for anybody. You know, a lot of that I think kind of gets, and like I said, some of it is, you know, there's been stuff happen that is, you know, perception is like that, and it is deserved. But I think that for the most part, a misconception is, you know, police are out to get me. No, a lot of police are there to help you, and that's their main job of it. And that's how I've always kind of approached it. Like that's what if I'm not doing that, somebody better tell me, hey, you're not doing what you said. You know, you need to. This is what we have to be doing, and that is where, you know, accountability has to happen. But I would think the misconception would be, you know, we are here to help. At the end of the day, we do work for the community. That is that is my number one goal when I'm at work. I work for the community. And even if people say, oh, I pay your salary, whatever, they do. I mean, I don't want to argue with that. You know, it does happen. So I have to serve them too. Now, within the law, there's some things you can't. I can't tell somebody to do something something illegal or whatever. But you know, it's you gotta. The misconception would be like a lot of the police. I'm sorry. That's an investigator from another DA's office.
If you need to take that, we'll meet the mic.
Yeah, let me take it real fast.
Hey, bro. Wake her up.
Why, yes, it is.
So we're good.
All right, back to it.
He hung up. I'll call him back.
All righty.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I can mute it now.
Oh, no, it's all good.
I forgot to mute it.
I thought it was a door.
So have you ever, well, I don't know if SWAT would necessarily do this, but have you ever gone like undercover for anything?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've had some cases where I was undercover. Yeah. Probably can't talk about them right now, but I have done that.
That's
yes.
fine.
Yeah, I have been. I have done that. Yes, and it is very. I'm a nervous person, anyways. Like I'm not a. Like I have nerves about anything. So when I was doing that, I was like, man, I'm just freaking out. And I had one guy I was working with, another detective. He's like, dude, you've got to chill out. Like you're stressing me out. And I'm like, man, I can't help it. I'm so like, cause I'm worried about everything. You never know what'll happen. Right. So, and a lot of the times, like they tell you in police academy or they tell you while you're training, is like you need to talk about stuff, because if you talk about it in the moment, it's easier to remember how you talked about like what you was gonna do. Like if someone takes off running, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna chase them or I'm gonna sit here and just describe what happened. If I've talked about that before, I can say, okay, it's easier for me, and I don't have to just think about everything because I'm an overthinker. So I'm just gonna sit there and think the whole time. And that's where like the undercover stuff, I'm thinking about everything, and I'm like, dude, I can't do this. Like I told him, I was like, I cannot do this. I'm so nervous. I have anxiety. I'm like, no, I can't do it. So I didn't really like that. I didn't do much of it. I just did a couple of them, but yeah, I have done it.
So do we want to talk a little bit about faith and how you keep it up in the workplace, and how you, or any advice you would give to us for keeping,
because it has to be
for remaining strong in our faith just throughout school, throughout our jobs?
Yeah, I think it's real scary to, at least for me, this is just my personal experiences with it. It's real scary for me to go to someone and like tell them I love Jesus, because it's like the enemy puts an embarrassment in me. Like, oh, they're gonna think I'm weird, or they're gonna think this. I just started a new job, and then now I'm proclaiming this. I don't want them to, not talk to me, or whatever the emotions may be, or whatever your thoughts may be. Mm-hmm. But so when I was, I got saved before I became a police officer. I got married because of that. Like I explained last night at church, I met my wife. I dated my wife for a month and proposed to her. 1 month. And I was 20 years old. So I didn't really know what that was. Looking back on it, I'm very thankful for what happened, but I probably would have waited a little bit. But so I got, like I said, I was seeking the Lord real hard, and then I met my wife. I proposed to her a month later. I said it was a God thing, and we got married 5 months later. So within 6 months, I went from single, not wanting a girlfriend, wanting to seek the Lord, to, hey, I'm married, and we waited a month and had a kid on the way. So it was quick, man. So then in that, I kind of fell out of my walk with Jesus. Like I kind of got where I quit going to church, I quit praying, I quit reading my Bible, and then a lot of shame started happening. Mm-hmm. So it was like, oh, you're not ever going to be that ever again. You can never get that potential you had with God ever again. Mm-hmm. And that's just a lie, 100%, an old lie. I mean, that's, in my mind, I'm telling myself that, and, I'm doing whatever Dylan wants to do. But then something changed. I tore my Achilles, and I just prayed one day. I was like, listen, Lord, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm sitting at home. I'm not going to work because I can't walk. I'm laying in a bed all day, and my wife's got to help me do stuff, and it's embarrassing to me because I'm supposed to be the man, and now I'm sitting here and she's doing everything for me. And I was like, you know what, Lord, I'm sorry. So started going to Desperation Church, and I had been to Desperation a long time ago. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get back in church. And my wife was on me for a couple years, like, hey, we need to get back in church. Hey, we need to get back to church. I'm like, oh, we will, soon. And soon turned into 2 or 3 years. I mean, before you know it, it's gone. Same thing with y'all's high school. Before you know it, you're in college, and your whole world's different. But so I started seeking the Lord pretty hard, and then like with my digital job, a lot of it is I see a lot of bad images, bad stuff in my job. So I just started praying, man. I was like, I can't do this without the Lord. Like I gotta do this with Him, and that's how it's got to be. So I started seeking Him real hard. Got real involved with our church. Started actually like I said, when you want to be you kind of want to isolate from other men because you don't want to share your problems with them. I started actually getting plugged in and like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. Can you talk to me about it? And it changed it.
Yeah, my dad's always, or he isn't always talking about it, but a little after the security team went to the range, and he got to do that with you and Ron, and he was like, man, it was awesome.
See, even like that, like used to, I would, and I've always been like, I will help whoever. I've always been like that. If you ask me to do something, I'll drop what I'm working on to help you. That's just the way I'm wired. Sometimes I take on too much work that way. But even like with church, I took on I was like, oh yeah, I want to serve on all the groups and do all the stuff and I'll, whatever. And then you get tired, you get burnt out really easy. And that's like stuff like that, you just have to push through it. And, sometimes you need a break. And sometimes you have to depend, like your dad, dude, he's awesome, man. I love your dad to death, dude. A lot of the security guys, man, we got a great security group at our church that, like, we can talk about stuff with each other. And then there's, like, I have in a community group, too, where I can talk to them, too, about it. But as far as, like, so when I left the PD, I was seeking the Lord real hard at the PD. I ended up leaving and going to the power company, Alabama Power. And I got out of policing. I was like, you know what, I'm done with it. I can't take it anymore. I'm just going to get out of it. So when I got to the power company, I let them know where I stood with God. That was like the first job that I was like, hey, I want you to know, like, if something happens, I'll pray for you. Or, because one guy asked me, he was like, man, you don't cuss. Why don't you cuss? I was like, I just, every word you say should be precious. Now, sometimes I don't cuss hardly ever. Sometimes it might slip out, but I try to be intentional with what I'm saying, because all your words are precious, man. I mean, your words matter a lot. Like I was saying last night, once you say it, you can't get it back.
Right.
Ain't no, ain't none of that. It's said. So, I let them know where I stood at the power company. Like, hey, this is my belief, and that was the first time at like a job I'd done that. And then when I went to the district attorney's office, I did the same thing. Like, hey, I'm not pushing it on you, but I just want to let you know, like, I love the Lord. Hey, man, do you? But I love the Lord. If you need something, I'll pray for you, And that really changed. It changed my career. It changed how, people interact with me. It's a lot different than it used to be. Because, if I'm saying negative stuff, all you hear is cuss words out of my mouth, I mean, you're probably going to start saying, this is all bullcrap, But if I'm saying positivity stuff,
right,
and speaking life on it, it's a lot easier for you to do that too, because now it's normal. And especially in school, you hear so much negativity all the time. There's cases that I've worked that people's posted everything everybody's ever done on Instagram or Snapchat or whatever, and that's ruined their whole world over a night or a conversation that could have been taken out of context or whatever. And now that whole person gets to go to school and everybody's making fun of them or ragging on them or calling them names or whatever. You can't get that stuff back, man.
Yeah.
And I was the same way in high school. I did that to people. I would say stuff to them. And looking back on it, that's not how you handle that situation. Yeah. And a lot of kids, they want to do whatever they want to do, and then, God will be there later. Well, God's there now. You never know I don't know what happens if I walk off this stage. I know one thing, I love the Lord. So whatever happens, He's got me. Yeah. Okay, it could be good, bad, whatever. But I'm going to give Him the credit. Like I said last night, if something happens, I love my family, but they know where I stand. I tell them first. The Lord's first, you're second. You know, I love you. That don't take any love away from you. I love my kids to death. I love my wife to death. But the Lord's first in my life right now, and that's how it's got to be.
And that's the only way. Like, you can't truly love other people like Jesus.
That's right.
Unless you love Jesus more than other people.
That's right. That's where it all starts from, because, you know, I seen a thing on YouTube the other day, and it was like, y'all might have saw something like this, but it's okay. He got 2 kids, all right, and they're asking him, one's got to go to heaven, one's got to go down. Which one are you choosing? And they're asking the dad that. The dad's like, well, I can't choose that. I don't want to choose. No, you got to right now, or, you know, both of them's gone. You got to choose right now. I can't do it. I can't do it. Nope, you have to right now. And he said, well, just take me. Don't take them. Take me instead. Mm-hmm. He said, that's it. That's the love of God. That's it. He said, no, he loves his children so much where he sent Jesus. That is the love right there. And that's what they answered, was like, that's how our Father loves you. And that's powerful, man. I mean, you can't, if I'm a child of God and he's going to give his son for me, that's unconditional love, man. I mean, that's it. And that's how you need to approach everything. And that's why it's, you know, sometimes we forget, but you got to have other people like each other to depend on. Hey, man, I'm struggling with this. I need your help. And, you know, sometimes everybody don't need to know everything.
Yeah.
But that one person does. Well, that's 2 people do. And that's where, like, it's really important. And that's one thing Pastor Adams helped me with is talking about that stuff with me, you know. That's where it has to be, you know, because it's hard, man. Life's hard. School's hard. You know, you break up with a girlfriend and you feel like the whole world's gone. Or if you was like me, I dated about 3 or 4 girls or whatever. You know, I'm breaking up with one, dating one, breaking up with one, dating one. I mean, that's no way to be. Yeah. You know, we got to have the love of God first. And it's not, they want to take the coolness off of it in school. Who cares, man? Like I said last night, you might see 2 or 3 people from high school when you graduate. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean you can't reach out to them and ask them how they're doing, but on a day-to-day basis, I talk to my wife, and I talk to my kids, and I talk to people I work with, and I talk to Cole, and then I'm open to talk to anybody, but that's how it is because I'm busy. You know, I've got my kids, you know, and they need me. So a lot of that, you know, you might not ever talk to somebody from high school ever again. Mm-hmm. You might never see them again. So you have one impression in this right now, and it needs to count. Yeah. You know, that's where you got to be intentional with it.
On that note, I think we're going to end off. This has been a wonderful podcast. Really.
Oh yeah, I can talk for hours now, man. I'm a talker, dude.
Mr. Aaron would kill us. But I really want to thank you for coming on. It was an incredible episode. And we're not going to do a draft this week, simply because it's really taken up a lot of the time for us to actually talk to our guests. So we probably won't be doing many of those unless it's just on a whim and we really want to. But this has been a really great episode, and I really just want to thank you for coming on.
Oh, yeah, man. Anytime. I love you, bro.
Love you, bro.